Hello and welcome back to another episode. My goodness me, literally as soon as I start recording, someone starts calling me. Give me a sec, guys. Be back with you in a second. Alright, thanks. Sorry about that. It was just quite funny because I started recording and there you go, it happened. So, thanks for waiting. Welcome back to another episode of the Simply Street English podcast. I'm Jake. You're learning English. Today, I'm going to be speaking a little bit about why you should learn another language. So the point of this podcast really is just so you can have practice listening to input that is hopefully understandable, and that you'll be able to just pick up on any phrases that I use naturally as I just talk about different subjects. It's the way that I now learn languages, and I find it really helpful. So I'm putting this podcast out there for you. Hopefully it's interesting as well as useful, and I'm just going to continue with it for as long as I can. So on that note, thanks to Alexandra Kovalchuk for joining the Patreon. patreon.com/simplystreetenglish. Good to have you there. And it's where you can find all the transcripts for all the episodes. So that's a really cool thing to check out if you want to. But if not, then let's just listen to the podcast. So, I said I'm going to be speaking about why you should learn a language. Now, I do think it's important, but it's also important to look at the reasons why we think things are important, obviously. So, if you're listening to this podcast, it's a good chance that you're already learning English, or maybe you're learning or starting, just really a beginner. Perhaps it'll be interesting and useful to look at why you want to learn English. So the biggest reason that I think there is that it connects you with other people, especially English. It's now right, the lingua franca, the language that is spoken by people when they want to bridge the gap between cultures, I guess. For example, if you go traveling around Europe especially, you're probably not going to know Hungarian unless you're from there or your parents were Hungarian. So how do you talk to them? If you're French or if you're English, well obviously if you're English, or if you're Spanish or whatever, Swedish, you're probably going to just switch to English, and so will they, if they know it and if you know it. So it helps to connect you with people, especially English, I would say. It can open the door to millions of people around the world. So, if you really think about it with English, as I said, you can talk to people who are learning it in their second language from, anywhere. Japan, Germany, Brazil, Nigeria, everywhere, man, that are learning the same language, English. It can be a real bridge between people. And that's a phrase or a word to use, a bridge, because you go over some big river and there is a way to get to the other side. It's a good way to break the ice, isn't it, really? Just to say, if you're learning another language, to speak with them because they're learning a new language. To break the ice is a phrase that means to start a conversation, really, and it helps to get the conversation going, and it's usually quite a friendly thing to do. So you say, I met someone on the street, and to break the ice, I said, what lovely weather it is today. And you can do that in England because we love talking about the weather. And here's a good one for you. Even if it's raining and cold, you can still say, what lovely weather it is today. And it will be generally understood that you're being sarcastic. And you can say it even if it's not. So I found that so funny with English. If it's a beautiful day like today, it's like 24 degrees out, you can say it's a beautiful day. What a lovely day. And even if it's raining, what a lovely day. That's just a silly sense of humor, I guess. Now you're speaking my language. I've got another phrase for you. It's people, if someone's like, hey, should we get pizza tonight and watch a film? It's a treat. It's a Friday night, let's say. You can say to someone, hey, you're speaking my language. That's my cup of tea, sort of thing. Like, yes, that sounds good. Now you're speaking my language. It's like a metaphor. I really like that, actually. I'm not sure why I've said that, but I've just put that in there. But yeah, remember, traveling, when you travel, to speak someone else's language helps to open up bridges. Wait, what? Open up doors and plant bridges, or build bridges, I should say. Great. Okay, let's look at reason number 2. It can actually help with your job opportunities or career opportunities. Now, I wouldn't know because I speak English natively about the English side of it, but I really think that if you want to work in America or work in Europe in a lot of places, even, you need to have English because there's so many companies that use it, etc. Actually, what I would know is learning Spanish, right? So I speak Spanish to a decent level. I'm not native level, of course, because I learned it as a second language. However, it helped me to get a job after uni. The boss came in and said, look, it says you speak Spanish on your CV. Do you actually speak Spanish? I was like, sí. And he goes, okay then. And starts speaking to me in Spanish. And I had to just like go for it and prove that I did. And I got the job. So that's another one for you. Don't lie on your CV. The CV, by the way, I probably should explain, is in American English they say resume, but we say CV in English. And CV stands for curriculum vitae, and it's Latin. And I'm not sure what it stands for actually, as in what those words mean. I will just quickly look it up, but I think it's something to do with like all your life up to that point, like as in the literal Latin. But what it is your list of things you've done. So schooling, education, experience. Let's have a look at what it actually means. Mate, I know what it means. I just want to have the Latin. Okay. This is what happens when you do things on the fly. Oh, that's a good phrase for you. To do something on the fly is to kind of do it, make it up as you're going along, sort of thing. So if I'm recording this podcast on the fly, which is what I'm doing, I'm looking things up as I'm speaking, and that's why I've just explained to you what on the fly means. Here we go. I've found the meaning of the Latin curriculum vitae. Course of one's life. So that makes sense. So you show someone the course of your life. And the reason I'm speaking about CV is that it helps to make you stand out in the job market. So even though I took on a job in the UK, they still wanted to know that I could speak another language. And I did actually use languages in my job. I was doing sales for like 4 years. And what I did was I tried to speak the language of different people as I called them and doing the sales. So I used Spanish. I actually had a script in German as well and could understand people decently after lots of practice. So languages can really help you to stand out in the job market. Obviously, it would help if you want to get a job in a different country, so you get more international job offers. And like I did, you can work remotely with teams all around the world. It can really help to give you a leg up, I suppose. That's a good phrase. To give you a leg up. I imagine this phrase is from when people used to ride horses and someone would help you get onto your horse, then you're in a higher position. So if a language gives you a leg up, it helps you to get up higher than you were before. That's a good example. Learning a language really gave me a leg up in the job market. Let's have a look at another reason. Reason number 3, it's really good for your brain. So I'm really excited about this one because I've spent so much time scrolling that I think it must have damaged my brain a little bit. Genuinely, I can feel very sluggish sometimes, especially after scrolling. So it's good to do something that actively builds your brain. So there's been research that shows that bilingual people have better memory, can multitask more easily. So that means they can do lots of different things at once more easily, and help to delay the effects of aging on the brain. Now, I'm not sure where this research has come from, but just think about it. If you're learning and being active with your brain and feeding your brain good new things, of course it's going to be good for your brain. and it's a healthy thing to do. Just in the way that our body needs exercise, I believe that our brains need exercise as well. So the opposite of sitting and scrolling and being a zombie is actively working and learning new things and endeavoring, trying. Endeavor, that's a good word. Endeavor is a good word. It's a good way of saying to try. So you endeavor to learn a new language. I'm endeavoring to explain the word endeavor to you. So yeah, using a language as a tool to make your brain sharp is really good. To make something sharp, especially like in a metaphorical sense, is a way of saying that. So you're keeping your brain sharp, you're keeping it active. Like a point is really sharp and it cuts through things. You want your brain to be sharp, okay? It's a good mental workout, is learning a language. And you might not feel it at the time, but your brain will grow. I mean, not like physically grow, but like, I can't explain it, but like sometimes I feel like my brain is expanding, like after a good like language learning session. It just feels good, like I can't explain it. Another reason to learn a language is that you learn things along the way. For example, the culture, not just the words. So you learn the way that people joke, and it's often the way that people think. So you notice small things like how people greet each other, their sense of humor, and within their idioms and expressions, you see what they value and stuff. Now, I have a friend who taught me how to say "How are you?" in, oh man, what is it now? I'm trying to remember what it is. No, 1 second. I need to look this up. Anyway, there's a culture, right? When they say, essentially, they say, you know what? I need to pause a second and look this up. 1 sec. Oh no, it's okay. I remember now. They taught me how to say "How are you?" in Tamil, and I'm sure it's something like "Sabtingala," right? And my pronunciation is pretty awful. Probably, I think I've just said "How are you?" But the literal way or the literal meaning is "Have you eaten today?" Now, to me, that shows like a real concern for somebody, saying like, "Have you had food yet? Are you okay? How are you?" And that's like a little window into like when you learn a language, just differences between your language, and I think that's so cool. So yeah, if you learn a language, you'll learn a lot of extra things you didn't think you would. So that's really fun. You'll start to see the world through other people's eyes, perhaps, and that means to look at things through other people's perspective. So from their kind of position in life. Let's have a look at the next reason. So you can become more confident as a person and more independent. So especially when you start to practice with native speakers, you can travel more, you can go out and just have these really cool interactions with people. And even if they're very basic to begin with, it just feels like you're leveling up. You know, if you're out in the town and you can ask for directions and understand what they say, and they don't switch to a different language that you both understand, that's really fun, okay? It can just make you more confident. I believe that, definitely. Like when I first learned Spanish, I arrived in the country and I was sweating. I was in the phone shop trying to get a contract in Orange, actually. I was sweating buckets because it was so hot. To sweat buckets means you're just sweating a lot, like you are filling up a bucket or multiple buckets. So yes, that's a fun phrase. I was sweating buckets, but eventually I came out of my shell. Another phrase. To come out of your shell is to become more outgoing. If you're in a shell, like an animal that lives inside a protective casing, a shell, well, if you're coming out of that shell, it means that you're being more confident and more outgoing. And yeah, that's what learning a language can do for you, because you have to interact with people. You have to do it. So yeah, helps. I would say as well that once you learn one language, depending on what it is, of course, it can make learning other languages really easy, or at least easier. For example, I know a little bit of German now, so then I've been looking at Swedish, and it looks like there's lots of similar words. So it can really help you to pick things up quickly. You learn in one language, you'll get a kind of a leg up to another language, which is quite cool, and you'll get the hang of that language perhaps quicker than you would have done. So to get the hang of something, let me just explain that. It means that you kind of begin to become comfortable with it, which I think is really cool. Right, thanks for listening to this podcast. I hope you've enjoyed it. Keep learning English, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao.